Hello, welcome to Get Your Money Shit Together Day 19. I am so glad you could join me today because today we're talking about the power of giving. And for me, there is no greater power, no greater opportunity than in the space of giving to demonstrate. This is not about the action. So I really, really, really want you to come in with me on this one, like lean in close. This is not the act of giving, it is about the heart of your giving. And if you really want to invite into your life the power of giving, you actually have to kind of let go of receiving the power of giving. And so I really want to spend a few moments with you today, just inviting you into the space of giving, helping you to harmonize what that means for you, because it might look differently than it looks for me. And then I have a resource for you for today. For those of you who are like, look, I really do want to get into this giving thing. I don't know where to begin, and I give to charity, and what is that enough? So first and foremost, I want to remind you that giving does not always happen in monetary form. So there is a monetary giving. If you're using my templates created in this course, then you'll notice that there's an automatic button for saving and an automatic button for giving. And those are set to 10%. You can change them to 0. You can change them to 30%. You can do anything between, whatever you want to do with those buttons. I have them as a default set at 10% for giving and 10% for saving, keeping, in other words, for yourself. In The Richest Man in Babylon, one of the first principles of wealth he teaches is 10% of all I make is mine to keep. So the first principle of giving that I'm going to offer you today is giving to yourself, understanding that when you go out in our energy, our work, and we talked about how money is the storage of that value of the energy, or at least the storage of the representation of what's left in it, right? So as we have this cash and it's available to us, sure, there's a giving component, but the first giving component is to give yourself first. You'll find it, don't you feel like, but it all goes to me. It pays for my house, it pays for my car, it pays for my kids to eat, it pays for, right? So it all feels like it's going to you, but there is the you who isn't going to be doing that level of effort forever. There is the you who perhaps needs a little peace of mind to have a cushion in the bank, or whatever your purpose is for building wealth today. The first thing I want to remind you is give yourself first, whatever that percentage is. So I have a little trick for giving to yourself, and we often call this saving, but this is the way I use the formula for both saving and giving. And saving for me is giving to yourself. So you're going to do it like this. So let's say that you're operating now and your entire livelihood is dependent upon the income you have. So you don't have a lot of space. So you're like, 10%, is she crazy? I can't save 10%. That's okay. What you're going to save is whatever percentage you can. So if you can start with $5 to create the habit, that's what you're going to do. And when you save it, this is not like I'm saying this because I'm a good person. This is not, I'm saving because I'm taking care of my money. And that's part of it. But this is the part where you look at yourself and you say, wow, thank you so much for being so active in my life. Thank you so much for providing all my needs. You have inspired me. And we're going to talk about that in a moment, and how important inspiration is. You have inspired me to do well in this world. And here is a small token of my gratitude to you. This $5, this 10%, this whatever percent you can start with, and you can grow it. And you look at yourself and you say, this is for you. Good job. I give this to you with love. I've been learning a phrase in Spanish, te lo doy con amor. I give to you with love. And say that, oh, it gives me chills when I say that. Say that to yourself and give to yourself with love. So how do you get there? So let's say you're like, Crystal, that sounds great. And I want to give to myself with love too, but I don't have extra money. How am I supposed to do that? Okay, so first of all, if that is the case and you truly don't have the excess 10%, not a problem, right? And so to give to yourself, and then especially another 10% for giving out there, wherever out there is for you. And so I have a strategy for you, and that is this. You're going to save, you're going to determine, you're not going to like wait and see what's left and then save. You're going to look at your numbers. You know, we've spent those first 10 days getting good at looking at the numbers. You're going to look at your numbers and you're going to decide. This is the amount that makes sense. You're going to set a standard for yourself and you're going to do it. That standard can be as low as 1% or 0.5%. It does not have to be whatever your end goal is. And here's the trick. And this is, I've helped so many people get onto a savings train and a giving train with this tactic. So are you ready for this? So every time, so you're going to save your whatever. So let's say you make $1,000 a month. I'm just going to put numbers to this for you. And you can't really save 100. That's 10%. You could save 10. That's your 1%. So you're going to save $10 every month out of that $1,000. And then, oof, what happened? You did well. You got a raise, right? This is going to happen in your life. You're going to earn more money over time. Even if you're doing the basic job for another employee, if you're an employee for an employer and you're earning a steady income, you're still going to over time increase that income. So when you increase, so let's say that you get a 10% raise and now you have $1,100. So $1,100 a month is now your income. Notice how you've had an increase, right? You're used to saving $10. So that would, if you just keep saving, let's say 1%, now you're going to save $11. You notice how that savings increases, right? So if you're already at the savings goal you have, then you're just going to take that percentage, and every time you increase your income, you're going to increase the savings by that percentage. But let's say you have to start at 1%, and $10 isn't going to get you anywhere fast. So what you're going to do is when you go from 1,000 to 1,100, you're going to split the difference. So the extra $100 that you have in a month, $50 of it is going to go to your savings or your giving, right? That account for that. So you're increasing that giving to yourself component, and then eventually increasing your giving to others component. And you get to split it. So when you go from $1,000 to $1,100, it's not like, well, everything I do goes to savings, so I'm not inspired to make more because I don't get to experience it now. You get both. You're going to increase your savings now by that extra $50. So now you're saving $60 a month, much more than 10%, right? I'm sorry, much more than 1%. So you're at $60 a month. You also get to spend the $10.50. So you've added $50 to your lifestyle. So this is a tactical strategy I want to offer you because it's a way to go from not saving or not giving at all to slowly over time, as you have increase, to split that increase, some with yourself now, some with these goals that you have. Now you can for sure say everything I increase until I get to that 20%, I'm just going to put it there because I have a lifestyle. That's awesome too. But it's not as feasible, as realistic as many of us would have, because if we are on a steady increase game, we don't want to wait 3, 4, 5 years to see our lifestyle increase as well, right? So as we get these raises, if we split that difference, notice that we're now saving 50% of the new, even though it's only 1% of the old. And what's going to happen is over time, you're going to reach a total savings amount. So you get an increase, you keep doing this. At some point, you're going to reach a time where maybe you make $3,000, and saving 20% of that, $600, is easy because you've been giving from your increase, right? So the first principle, give to yourself first. The second principle, give from your increase. So we often call this giving from the overflow, like when you have leftover, but the giving from your increase is a tactic for improving or increasing how much you have to give over time, where it doesn't feel so painful or like a massive adjustment in your life. So the second strategy is to give from that increase. And always, as principle, it's not a strategy, a principle of giving is to give from your overflow. So plan for your overflow so that you have that overflow to give. And that's where giving from the increase allows you to step into that space, that sweet, sweet space of overflow. Okay, and so the last thing I have for you is about how you give. And we're going to spend actually the last portion of this video specifically on this. And that is the how we give. So we've heard things like, God loves a cheerful giver. If you follow the Christianity or Bible, I don't know if that's in Old Testament. Sorry, guys, I'm super rusty on those topics. But God loves a cheerful giver. There's the giving with gratitude, regardless of the training that you've had. Anyone who's going to teach you for giving is typically teaching you how to give from a space of gratitude and love. So that said, how do we do that? And what I learned growing up is that you give where it's needed. So even my biological mother, she modeled this with us. I was taken care of because my grandparents raised me. My older sister was taken care of because she was that person who's going to take care of things and be fine no matter what and make sure everything's okay. But my younger brother, my now late brother, and my youngest sister, they did not have that capacity to kind of take care of themselves. And so my biological mother, she gave and gives a lot of herself to that part of the family. And when you look at it, you can recognize that she gives where there's need, right? So that was my training. Even the grandparents who raised me raised her. So the training is to give where to notice where there's need and give. And that's awesome. If you want to give where there's need, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. And thank you. And the world loves you and needs you. And we hold you in our hearts and thank you for that. But I'm here to tell you, you guys asked for the truth, right? That is a wonderful way of giving, but that's not the kind of giving that brings increase. That is the kind of giving that expands your heart. That's the kind of a giving that changes the world, makes the world a better place, perhaps. But the kind of giving that expands your wallet, that expands your capacity to give in the future. So we keep cycling so that you have more to give and more to give. And perhaps you can then share that among the charities. And this is when you give where you are inspired. Now that's going to seem counterproductive because you might think, but where I'm inspired is often coming from maybe a mentor who has millions, or maybe I'm being inspired by someone who doesn't have any need, right? So they don't have need in that equation because they've probably created something that's what's inspiring you. And it's the opposite of what we would think is to give where it already exists, right? Well, they already have it, so why would I give? But here's the intention here. And you guys know most of what I bring you in my lessons are one part collected wisdom over the years, 20 some years of really just my whole life. I've always been a seeker from a little girl on. I've been looking for the answers, like, tell me the right answers. Let's dig deeper. And so part of that comes from wisdom of other people, what I've learned, who I've sought after, who I've studied, the books I've studied. And then the other part of that, and the biggest part of it for me now, comes from my own life experience, because I did enough things wrong and enough things right in my life that I have an array of experience to offer. So because of that, I'm telling you now that I had this from a book, Edwene Gaines, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. Highly recommend 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. Edwene, it's Edwene, I believe. Gaines, Gaines, roughly speaking on the spelling. And the book says, give where you're inspired. And of course, being the girl, a little over a decade ago when I heard this principle, being the one who was taught to give where there's need, I was like, I don't know about this book. But when something triggers you, what do? You look deeper. Rather than running, if it's triggering you, sometimes it's a great opportunity to just dive a little deeper and see what's going on with that with you. So I did. And my life has shown me that when I give where I am inspired, not where there's need, but where I have been inspired, it comes back to me in so many ways. So many ways. And I've got a story in a book. It's called the Live Sassy Formula. I'm a participant in that book. It's an older book, maybe 10 years old now. I don't know. But in that excerpt, I explain some things that went down for me and how I got into a heart space of giving. And in that moment, trying on that giving from inspiration as I was taught from this course and then introduced to the book. And I can't say at first I understood. I was just trying a thing. But what started to happen is that even when I would make the choice to give, and there were a couple times I made a choice to give, like I was given a number, like give this much. And I'm like, that's a weird number and a lot of money. And what do you mean give that amount? And why would I give? And they don't need it and right? So in this feeling of inspired giving, I would let the number come and not understanding even where I'm supposed to pay this amount from at the time. Remember, I'm a single mom. This is 11 years ago. I'm a single mother who has a job, yes, but I'm also an entrepreneur and I'm raising kids. And so it was a little scary, but I made a decision I was going to do it, not knowing where it's going to come from. And I'm telling you, literally that day, a school I had been teaching for that I thought I had been paid out, it turns out there was a whole extra check coming, and it was almost to the penny. It was literally to the dollar for what I had been inspired in my mind. Like I was out for a jog, and you know how that opens up the flow. It was like, give this much. And I was like, that's a weird number and whatever. So I go back and I kept hearing a voice, check your accounts, check your accounts. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give this money, but this is actually bill money and I don't do that. So what's happening? And I was in a place of trust. And, we get into a heightened space sometimes when we're in with other people who also are vibrating higher. And I just knew it was the right number. And something said, just check your accounts. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give that, but I got to come up with it. I got to figure it out. Check your accounts. And after the third time I heard this voice in my head saying, check your accounts, I go log in, and the exact amount I had been told by my higher self, give this, was in my account. And it was a payment from a school that I wasn't expecting. So it didn't even have to I didn't have to figure anything out. I just said yes to the giving. And I really want to urge you and encourage you today that if you've been struggling with that concept of giving, or you feel like I'm giving, but it's not making a difference, and especially if you're giving with the intention to receive, because that's not a gift, that's an exchange. That's a story for another day, perhaps, but give from a place of, I feel inspired and I want to give in this space. And when you feel inspired and you want to give, that is the time to give. And I encourage you and I urge you, the exercises today are simply going to take a look at your giving lines. Your saving, which is giving to yourself, and your giving, which is giving to you. And you're going to assess what is the number that works for you now. What is your goal? And then just prepare so that as you have increase, you can continue to increase that number as well. This is one of my favorite topics, primarily because it's made the biggest difference in my life. And by settling in to this inspired giving, I find that everything I need in the universe is taken care of. Like everything, even when I think it's not, boom, all of a sudden, everything I need, or I'll recognize that I didn't need what I thought I needed, that I needed something else. And that was already handled long before. And it works, guys. As they say, this shit works. It really, really works. So recap, number one, give to yourself first. That when we save, we're giving to ourselves. And that's the first principle of wealth, that 10% of all you make is yours to keep. That's according to The Richest Man in Babylon, a very old text with really powerful wealth principles. Number 2, when we give, we want to give from our increase and our overflow. And number 3, give where you are inspired. In light of that, you guys, so when I decided to give this money piece, I actually wanted nothing in return. Like, this isn't for me. And still, I feel an urge and a need to share, right? This is me giving where I'm inspired. And I felt inspired to share this because I've been so blessed in my life to have the wisdom and the understanding to make good choices. You guys, it hasn't been like I've never been given a big sum of money. Like, it's not like I'm blessed in the sense of somebody else is providing for me. I am blessed in the sense that everything I need always shows up. There is always a way, and somehow it always works. And one of the key principles is giving where you're inspired. And I felt inspired and decided to give. In light of that, I have decided, and I don't know if it will be up by the time you see this video or not, but there will be a donate page on the landing page for this course, and perhaps on, I don't know, some intro page or something. But as I reviewed for this lesson, I realized that one of the key things I can do for you is to create a space for you to do it immediately. And so in the exercise today, you are going to be asked to choose one place that you've been inspired in the last, let's say 6 weeks, right? I say a month, but you can say 6 weeks, 2 months. If this is your first time, you can stretch back as far as you need to. You inspired me 10 years ago, and I want to give to you today. But you will be asked to pay attention to where you've been inspired recently and to choose an amount. No attachment to how much that is. Yes, we set percentages to help us measure, but it's not about that. What's the amount that you feel like giving? And you're going to give. And it doesn't matter if it's $1, and it doesn't matter how you do it, whether it's virtual or in person. But the idea is that you immediately implement the principle of giving in your life. You're going to give yourself something, right? Give to yourself. I inspire me. I want to give to me. So give yourself something and then match that. So it could be $1. You guys, it can be literally $1. Just do the practice. I'm telling you, it will change things for you. And especially as you begin to implement it over and over and over. And tell me how it feels when you do that first transaction. Give to yourself and give to someone who has inspired you. That's it. So I will be setting up a donate page on this course specifically because I realized that I may be inspiring you, and I really want to offer you the opportunity to practice these principles. You guys, this is not about giving to me. This is not about creating. If anything, any monies donated from this course will go into rolling over for whatever else we are creating next. And we are creating. Actually, it's happening. You guys, you know how giving always produces, right? In this case, I decided to give content and knowledge, and you're responding and you're telling me what you want. And we already know what course is coming next. I will be sharing that, but not today. You have to keep going to get it, but it's coming and I'm so excited for it. And I'm supposed to be taking some time off, but sometimes in white space, we have lots of energy. So here we go. And in your giving, in your direction, in your flow, as you embody this particular lesson, which is going to make the biggest impact of all, even if you think, but I have so many expenses, take $1, put it away for yourself. Take another $1, donate it somewhere. That's it. But not to need, not because, I need to give this and some homeless person on the street needs $1. That's awesome. Thank you for being charitable. We need lots of charitable people in the world. And that doesn't count. $1 somewhere or more where you've been inspired. That's it. And we'll be back tomorrow to talk about more ways you can use these gifts that are flowing into your life as you begin giving. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. for continuing this work, for doing this work, for being the strongest and best version of yourself so that you have more to give. I see you. I love you. And I am you. Until tomorrow. Bye.